Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the story of the bridge that once connected Russia to Crimea, a structure that became both a symbol of unity and control, and now stands reduced to rubble. This isn't just a story about concrete and steel. It's about power, politics, and the shifting tides of war. The bridge in question is the Crimean Bridge, also known as the Kerch Bridge, a massive structure that once represented Russia's grip on Crimea and now lies damaged, contested, and symbolic of wider struggle that continues to unfold between Russia and Ukraine. From the very beginning, the Crimean Bridge was more than a construction project. It was a statement, a bold declaration of permanence following Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea. After that annexation, Moscow wanted a direct physical link between the Russian mainland and Crimea, bypassing Ukrainian territory entirely. The bridge stretched across the Kerch Strait, joining the Taman Peninsula of Russia to the Kerch Peninsula of Crimea. In 2018, when the bridge opened, it was celebrated across Russia as an engineering triumph and a symbol of restored historic unity. But for Ukraine and much of the international community, it was something very different, a violation made physical, a structure that cemented what they saw as illegal occupation. The bridge was massive in every sense. It spanned about 19 kilometers, making it the longest bridge ever built in Europe. It cost billions of dollars and required overcoming extraordinary engineering challenges, including deep waters, shifting sediments, and harsh weather conditions. But the reward for Russia was enormous. It provided a direct route for goods, military supplies, and civilians to travel between Crimea and mainland Russia without depending on ferries or vulnerable routes through Ukraine. It became a vital artery of trade, tourism, and logistics, and a key strategic advantage during wartime. However, the very thing that made the bridge valuable also made it vulnerable. Because it was such a powerful symbol of Russian control, it became one of the highest value targets for Ukraine. From the first day the bridge opened, Ukrainian officials and analysts warned that it would eventually become a target if war escalated. For them, it wasn't just an engineering project. It was a symbol of occupation, and when Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the bridge quickly rose to the top of Ukraine's target list. In October 2022, the world saw dramatic images of flames and smoke billowing from the bridge after a powerful explosion tore through part of it. A section of the roadway collapsed into the sea, and traffic was halted. Russian authorities claimed a truck loaded with explosives detonated on the bridge, while Ukraine, though not immediately claiming responsibility, later hinted at involvement. That moment changed everything. The bridge's aura of invincibility was shattered. The explosion was more than a physical blow. It was psychological, striking directly at the heart of Russian confidence. The bridge was repaired and reopened within months, but the sense of vulnerability lingered. Then in July 2023, another strike hit the bridge. This time, it was reportedly carried out using sea drones, controlled explosive devices capable of sneaking through defenses under the water. The attack killed 2 civilians and damaged the structure again. Each time Russia repaired the bridge, Ukraine demonstrated it could still reach it. The message was clear. The link was never secure. The most devastating attack came in June 2025. According to reports from Ukrainian intelligence and Western media, Ukrainian special forces managed to plant over a ton of explosives beneath the bridge's support pillars and detonate them remotely. The underwater blast caused massive structural damage, shaking the bridge's foundations and forcing Russia to halt all traffic temporarily. Though Russia quickly claimed that the bridge suffered only minor damage and reopened it within hours, Satellite images and expert analyses suggested otherwise. Large cracks appeared in several support structures, and parts of the road were visibly sagging. Each successive strike showed not just Ukraine's growing capabilities, but also Russia's growing vulnerability. A bridge once celebrated as unbreakable was now repeatedly broken. It became a metaphor for Russia's broader struggle in Ukraine, a powerful empire facing a determined and resourceful opponent who refused to yield. The destruction of the bridge was a tactical victory, but also a symbolic triumph for Ukraine. It showed that even Russia's proudest infrastructure achievements could be brought low. For the people of Crimea, the bridge's damage had practical consequences. It disrupted the flow of food, fuel, and supplies. Long lines of cars and trucks formed as authorities scrambled to redirect traffic to ferries, which could not handle the same volume. Prices rose, and ordinary citizens felt the strain. The destruction wasn't just military, it was economic and psychological. For Crimeans who had accepted Russian control, the bridge had represented stability. Its damage now represented uncertainty. On the Russian side, officials downplayed the attacks and claimed that repairs were quick and efficient. Russian media portrayed each incident as an act of terrorism, accusing Ukraine of targeting civilians. Yet, despite the propaganda, the repeated attacks eroded confidence. People began questioning how secure Crimea really was. If the bridge could be hit multiple times, what else could be vulnerable? From Ukraine's perspective, the bridge was always a legitimate target. Military analysts argued that the structure served a dual purpose, civilian and military, and that Russia routinely used it to transport troops, equipment, and ammunition into southern Ukraine. Destroying or damaging it, therefore, was not only legal under the laws of armed conflict, but strategically essential. By striking the bridge, Ukraine could isolate Crimea, cut supply lines, and weaken Russia's southern front. The symbolism of the bridge's destruction cannot be overstated. When it was first built, Russian President Vladimir Putin personally drove a truck across it during the opening ceremony. It was presented as proof that Crimea was forever Russian. Every news outlet in Russia covered it as a triumph of willpower and engineering. Now, with the bridge repeatedly struck and partially destroyed, that image has crumbled. For many observers, the fall of the bridge's stability mirrors the slow unraveling of Russia's ambitions in Ukraine. But the story doesn't end there. Each attack on the bridge sparks new rounds of escalation. Russia responds by striking Ukrainian infrastructure, power plants, railways, ports, and residential areas. The tit-for-tat dynamic intensifies, drawing the war deeper into civilian life. The cycle of destruction becomes self-perpetuating. In many ways, the bridge has become both cause and consequence of the ongoing war. The geopolitical implications are immense. The bridge's destruction affects not only Russian logistics, but also its strategic posture in the Black Sea. With limited access routes to Crimea, Russia faces greater challenges in supplying its forces stationed there. It also faces potential isolation of the peninsula if Ukraine continues advancing in the south. In military terms, this weakens Russia's defensive depth and complicates its supply chains. In political terms, it undermines Moscow's claim that Crimea is permanently integrated into Russia. Internationally, the attacks on the bridge have raised questions about the legality of targeting dual-use infrastructure. Under the laws of war, civilian objects that are used for military purposes can become legitimate targets. Ukraine's argument is that Russia's use of the bridge to transport weapons and troops makes it a fair target. Russia, on the other hand, claims that such attacks amount to terrorism. These competing narratives reveal how war stretches the definitions of legality, morality, and necessity. Beyond the battlefield, The destruction of the bridge carries a broader message about the fragility of modern infrastructure in wartime. Massive engineering feats like the Crimean Bridge can become liabilities when war erupts. No matter how advanced or fortified they are, they remain vulnerable to asymmetric attacks from drones, underwater explosives, or cyber interference. The story of this bridge serves as a warning to nations everywhere. Infrastructure built for pride can quickly turn into a target for precision. Economically, the damage to the bridge affects trade and travel between Russia and Crimea. Supply chains slow, goods become scarce, and the cost of transport rises. The tourism industry, once encouraged by the ease of access, suffers. Ferry services struggle to handle demand. Crimean residents face uncertainty about fuel and food availability. These effects ripple far beyond the immediate zone of destruction, touching lives across the region. For Ukrainians, however, each successful strike fuels morale. It shows that determination and ingenuity can overcome superior firepower. The attacks remind the world that Ukraine retains agency in this conflict, that it can hit back, disrupt, and adapt. The bridge's destruction has become a rallying point for Ukrainian resilience and a symbol of defiance. For Russia, the bridge's repeated damage is a political embarrassment. Every explosion exposes the limits of Russian security and control. Every repair demands time, money, and manpower. Each incident undermines the image of total dominance that Russia tries to project. Even if Moscow continues to rebuild, the psychological scar remains. The bridge may stand again, but its invincibility is gone forever. When we say the bridge is reduced to rubble, we mean more than physical ruin. We mean the collapse of what it stood for, the narrative of permanence, the illusion of unshakable control. A structure once built to connect has instead become a symbol of division. Its ruins tell a story not just of engineering failure, but of political overreach and the inevitable limits of empire. The destruction of the bridge also reflects a larger truth about war itself. No structure, no system, no symbol is immune to the forces of conflict. The bridge's collapse reminds us that every act of aggression plants the seeds of its own undoing. What was once a monument to conquest now lies as a warning about the cost of domination and the fragility of power built on force. In the years ahead, the bridge's ruins will continue to echo through history. Whether Russia rebuilds it again or abandons it altogether, it will remain a testament to one of the most defining struggles of the 21st century. It will remind future generations that no matter how high the cost of construction, the price of war is always higher. Thank you for watching, and for staying with this deep dive into one of the most powerful symbols of the ongoing conflict. If you found this explanation informative, make sure to like the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more breakdowns of major world events. Until next time, stay informed and stay aware.